My marriage looked polished from the outside, but inside it had gone thin and tired. At dinner with friends, Derek lifted his glass and said, "You just still look perfect." Adrian turned to me, Maya. Celeste smiled. That voice means she has a complaint. I should have stopped. Instead, I wanted the table, the lights, the attention. I wanted somebody to notice that I was bored with small apartments, careful spending, and a husband who never made noise. "I saw him online," he said. "That guy is doing huge things." Celeste whistled. "Trips, watches, cars, he really climbed fast." I looked at Adrian and felt something petty rise in me. At least Julian knew how to chase success. I said. Naomi, my younger sister, put down her fork. Maya, don't. Adrian's face did not change much. That made it worse. If he had shouted, I could have fought back. Instead, he just looked at me like I had reached into his chest and shown strangers what I found there. "I was joking," I said. Double quotes. "No, you weren't," Naomi said. Adrian stood. "I'm leaving." "See," I said. Julian would have handled one comment without acting hurt. Adrian looked at me. "Handled it how?" "By smiling while my wife praised another man to my face." "If the truth embarrasses you, that isn't my fault," Naomi whispered. "Stop talking." "You are always calm," I said. "Always patient, always reasonable. Do you know how small that life feels to me?" His jaw tightened. "I know how cruel you sound." No slammed chair, no big scene. Just quiet footsteps and a silence that clung to me long after he was gone. Celeste squeezed my arm. Maybe he needed to hear it. Naomi stood. "No, he needed respect." When I got home, Adrian was standing by the window in the dark. "Are you going to punish me with silence now?" I asked. "I asked you not to do that in public. And I asked you for years to want more." He turned slowly. "More what?" "More money, more drive, more than this." I waved at our apartment. "You think I gave you nothing?" he said. "I think you settled. I worked every day for us." "You worked. You didn't rise." He stared at me a long moment. "Am I a failure to you?" I should have softened. Instead I said, "Sometimes. Thank you for being honest." He said, "I know," he said quietly. "That's what scares me." He walked to the bedroom. "Adrian," he stopped. Instead he said, "Get some sleep, Maya." I told myself he would get over it. I did not know I had just torn open the end of my own life. The first time I showed Adrian the white house on the hill. We were newly married and broke enough to laugh at impossible things. That one, I had said through the windshield, "If I ever get my dream house, it will be that one." He smiled and squeezed my knee. "White walls, black gate, front garden. I will remember." I just kept deciding that remembering was not enough. After the dinner, he became quieter than ever. He still made coffee. He still asked if I had eaten. He still folded laundry in neat squares. But some warmth had pulled back, and instead of guilt, I felt annoyed. "You could say something," I snapped one morning. "About what?" "About us. You already did enough talking for both of us. Tell me you apologized." She said, "I don't need a lecture." "Good, because I am begging, not lecturing." "Stop before you break something you can't fix." "No, I'm acting like you're restless and cruel at the same time." She leaned across the table and said, "You have one life. If your husband can't give you what you want, why keep pretending that doesn't matter?" "Loyal men are nice," she said. "Successful men are useful," I heard myself say. "Julian used to talk like the whole world belonged to him." Celeste laughed. "And Adrian talks like he is apologizing for existing in it." When I got home, Adrian was in the kitchen with papers spread across the table. He covered them too quickly. "What is that?" I asked. "Nothing you need to worry about. Now you have secrets. Now I have privacy." Over the next week, I noticed more. He took calls on the balcony. He came home late twice. Once I saw him sign something and slide it into a folder before I could read it. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Taking care of things." A few days later, we drove past the hill. The White House gleamed above us in the evening light. Still staring at it, Adrian asked. "I never stopped wanting it," I said. "I know. You remember?" "I remember everything you think I forget." At Naomi's place, she watched me over dinner and asked, "Are you even happy anymore?" "No," I said. "Then fix your heart before you demand bigger rooms," I said, almost to myself. "Some men just know how to rise." Adrian's hands tightened on the wheel. "And some men know how to build quietly," he said. "Quietly doesn't impress anyone." He parked outside our building and stared ahead. "That," he said, "has become very clear." I thought I was pushing him toward change. I did not see I was pushing him away. A week later, Adrian called me at work. "Take the afternoon off," he said. "Why?" "Because I need you with me. Dress nicely." When I got downstairs, he was waiting by the car in a dark jacket, calm and unreadable. "What is this?" I asked. "Get in." The black gate opened. "No way." He reached into his coat and handed me a velvet box. Keys. Silver, shining, real. For one bright, foolish second, joy flooded me so hard it hurt. "You bought it?" I whispered. "Yes, for me?" I bought it because I remembered what you wanted. I grabbed his arm. I knew you could do more. I knew it. He lifted a folder from the back seat and placed it on my lap. Open it. I blinked. What is this? The house is fully paid for, he said, and it belongs to me. My mouth went dry. Why would you bring me here for that? Because you spent years telling me what success should look like. I thought you should see what quiet work can buy. Are you trying to humiliate me? No, he said. You already taught me how that feels. I knew what it was before I opened it. No, read it. Divorce papers. The word blurred even before the tears came. You can't be serious. I have never been more serious. Because of one fight, he laughed once, tired and hollow. You think this started at dinner? Panic rose fast. We can fix this. I said things I didn't mean. You meant them enough to repeat them. I was angry. No, you were honest. I just finally listened. I grabbed his sleeve. Don't do this. He gently removed my hand. You told me Julian knew how to chase success, he said. Maybe you should be with someone who performs it better than I ever wanted to. That's not fair. Fair? Was it fair to praise another man in front of me? Was it fair to use my love like a place to dump your contempt? I had nothing. He looked at the house. Dreams mean nothing when respect is gone. My voice broke. You bought my dream house just to leave me outside it. I bought it because I needed to know I was never the small man you made me feel like. He opened his door. And yes, I am leaving you behind. Please, I whispered. He stopped without turning. You were right. He said, you should be with success. I just won't be there to watch you measure it anymore. Then he walked around, opened my door, and waited. Not angry. Certain. I stepped onto the driveway with the folder shaking in my hands. While everything I thought I controlled fell apart. Naomi. I said, what happened? He left me. Sit down, she said. I dropped onto her couch. He bought the house, the white one, then he gave me divorce papers. Don't say his name like that. She stared at me. Like what? Like he spent years loving someone who kept calling him small. She sat across from me. Do you know how many extra shifts he took last year? Do you know how many weekends he gave up? The hobbies he dropped? The classes he wanted and never took? Why would I know that? Because you were supposed to be his wife. He asked me once what flowers you'd want in the garden if he ever got that house. He showed me investment charts because he was trying to grow a future for you. He never stopped planning. You just stopped seeing it because it wasn't loud. I covered my face and cried hard enough to shake. She handed me tissues and let the truth sit where it hurt. Later, I called Celeste. He actually filed, she asked. Yes, wow, I didn't think Adrian had it in him. Something about her tone chilled me. That's all you have to say. What do you want? A violin? Men get dramatic when their ego gets bruised. Give him time. He bought a house and divorced me on the same day. She exhaled. Then maybe this is your chance. My chance for what? For the life you keep talking about. When she hung up, the room felt colder. That night, lying on Naomi's couch, I scrolled until I found Julian's number. I had not called it in years. He answered on the third ring. Well, he said smoothly. This is unexpected. I closed my eyes. Hi, Julian. To what do I owe this miracle? I almost ended the call. Then I thought of Adrian driving away, of the house, of the silence that had replaced everything I once relied on. Can we meet? I asked. He laughed softly. Are you calling for closure, nostalgia, or bad decisions? I should have listened. Instead, I said, I just need to talk. Tomorrow at 7, he said. I'll text you the place. After he hung up, Naomi came to the doorway. Who was that? I hesitated. Julian. Her face hardened. No. I just need answers. No, she said again. You need self-respect. Calling him now is like running back into a fire because the smoke looks familiar. I turned away. She stood there another second, disappointed and tired. If you keep chasing fantasy, you'll lose the last piece of yourself too. But I was still broken enough to believe fantasy might save me. You look good, he said. You look the same, he grinned. That means I won. Sit. Then he asked, so did your husband finally bore you to death? I stiffened. We're getting divorced, I heard. From who? He lifted a shoulder. People talk. I stared at him. I didn't come here to be mocked. Then why did you come? Because you miss me. Because you regret marrying the safe guy. Because you finally want the life I could have given you? I came because I needed perspective. I said, here's some. Your husband was always soft. Good men are useful when you're young and scared. Exciting men are better when you're honest about what you want. Don't talk about him like that. He laughed. You did worse. I heard what you said at dinner. My stomach dropped. How would you know that? Because I told him. I turned and saw Celeste standing there in a black dress, smiling like nothing had happened. Surprise, she said. I looked from her to Julian. What is this? Julian smiled into his drink. This is the part where you catch up. How long? I asked. She shrugged. A few months. It wasn't serious at first. I laughed once, hard and empty. You listened to me cry about my marriage while sleeping with my ex. You were already halfway. Out the door, she said, I didn't push you, you fed it. Julian swirled his glass. She encouraged honesty. You should thank her. I looked at him with disgust. You enjoy this. I enjoy winning, he said. Did you ever care about me? I asked. He smiled without warmth. I cared that you remembered me. Final notice, past due, legal review. Celeste shifted. Maya, how much debt? I asked. Julian's jaw tightened. Business moves, so the cars and trips and perfect life online, marketing. I almost laughed. You mean lying? He leaned forward. Everybody lies. Your husband lied too. He let you think he was enough. I stood so fast my chair scraped. He was enough. I was too blind to see it. Celeste rolled her eyes. Don't turn pure now. And you, I said, looking at her. Were never my friend. She folded her arms. I was honest about what matters. No. You were hungry for front row seats to my mess. Julian smirked. Come on, Maya. Don't leave angry. We could still have some fun. The disgust that rose in me was clean and final. My marriage died while you two treated it like gossip. I said, goodbye, Julian. Lose my number. Celeste. In the elevator mirror, my face looked stripped down and honest. For the first time, I saw the difference between a man who shines and a man who stands. I moved into a small rental apartment with thin walls and one narrow window, Adrian holding my hand in the hospital when my father was dying. Adrian saying, you don't have to be brave for me. Adrian remembering my coffee order, my deadlines, the songs I skipped when I was sad. One Sunday my mother arrived with groceries and a face that promised truth, not comfort. You look awful, she said. Thanks, that was not an insult. Sit down. I sat at the tiny table while she unpacked soup, bread, fruit, and tea. Naomi told me enough, she said. Then you know I ruined everything. Yes, I blinked. You could pretend to comfort me first. Why? You do not need softness right now. You need clarity. She gave me a long look. That should tell you something then. She sat across from me. Wanting more is not evil, she said. Wanting beauty, comfort, money, security, none of that is evil, but cruelty toward love is. Humiliating a good man because he is not flashy enough is. Tears burned. I know. Do you? Or do you only hate the consequences? I had no answer. Work got worse. I missed a client call, sent the wrong file, forgot a meeting. My manager, Rena, shut the office door and said, tell me whether this is a crisis or a pattern. A crisis, I said. She nodded. Then fix it fast. I can support honesty. I cannot support chaos forever. One evening I drove home by the hill without meaning to. I looked up and saw movers carrying boxes into the White House. Adrian's car was in the driveway. He was moving and really building a life that no longer had room for me. I pulled over so hard the car behind me honked. No, I whispered, gripping the wheel, but the truth was bright above me. He was not waiting for me to change. He had already changed his future. I cried until my head hurt. Because I finally understood what it cost him to dream for me while I kept doubting him. That night I opened a blank notebook and wrote, who did I become while asking for more? Then I wrote, why did I think love had to be loud to be real? The questions hurt more than the divorce papers. They hurt because they were honest. For the first time, I stopped asking how he could leave. I started asking why staying with me had become. Around that asterisk, Naomi called one morning and said, have you seen the news about Julian? I opened the article while she talked. His company was under review for false reporting and unpaid loans. Investors were pulling out. His comment section was full of questions he could not charm away. Did you know? Naomi asked. I knew he was lying, I said. I didn't know how deep it went. People like that build stairs out of smoke. She said, sooner or later somebody falls through. Can we talk? We met at a quiet cafe near my office. She looked smaller without confidence ranged around her. My manager found out about Julian, she said. Why would your manager care? She looked down. Because one of the people tied to his mess works at our company. And because I was also seeing someone else there. I blinked. Someone else, that isn't the point. People are talking. I let the silence sit. Are you here for sympathy? I asked. She flinched. Maybe. I don't have any to spare. She nodded and left with her coffee half full. On my third session, Dr. Levin asked, what frightened you most about Adrian's quiet nature? It made me feel ordinary, I said after a long pause, and ordinary felt dangerous because I stared at the rug, because I grew up watching my parents count coins, because I promised myself I would never need anyone, because if my life did not look impressive, I thought maybe I had failed. She nodded. So you married safety, then punished it for not looking like status. Then Marcus, Adrian's business partner, asked to meet. We sat outside his office with paper cups of coffee between us. Why did you want to see me? I asked. Because Adrian would never say this, Marcus said, and somebody should. He was offered fast money more than once, dirty deals, shady clients, people who admired greed and called it ambition. He turned them down every time. I looked away. Marcus continued, you confused restraint with weakness. He did not lack ambition. He had standards. My throat tightened. I made him feel small. You tried to, Marcus said. He just decided not to live there anymore. Those words hurt worse than anger. When I got back to my car, I sat there a long time. Naomi was right. Victory was not revenge. Sometimes it was surviving the truth without looking away. And for the first time, I thought maybe I was finally strong enough to try. Adrian opened the door himself. Maya, he said. Double quotes. Hi, I won't stay long. If you want me to leave, I'll go. After a moment, he stepped aside. Come in. Sunlight on pale floors, fresh flowers on the entry table, a blue mug near an open book. Do you want tea? He asked. No, if you're kind to me right now, I might fall apart before I say what I came to say. A shadow crossed his face. Then say it. I was cruel, I said, not just at dinner. For a long time, I treated your love like the one place where I could dump my worst self and still be safe. I used your patience against you. I made being gentle sound shameful. He said nothing. So I kept going. I wanted people to envy me more than I wanted to protect what we had. I confused noise with worth. I compared you to a fantasy and called it honesty. It was vanity and cowardice. I am not here to ask you to come back. I just needed to tell you the truth without hiding behind anger. He looked at the floor, then at me. Thank you for saying it plainly. I laughed weakly. I'm late, though. Yes, he said. He walked to the window and turned back. Do you want to know why I brought you here that day? Yes, because I needed one clean ending. Not another argument, not more begging to be seen. I bought the house because I remembered your dream. I ended the marriage because I finally remembered mine. What was yours? To be loved without being measured against somebody louder. He held my gaze. I did love you deeply, Maya, but love cannot survive repeated humiliation and stay healthy. I covered my mouth. Buying this place was not revenge, he said. It was closure. I needed to prove, mostly to myself, that I was enough before I built the next part of my life. I whispered, you were always enough. His expression softened, but only a little. I know that now. Those words broke something open and let something else go. I wiped my face. I'm glad. I moved toward the door, then stopped. Adrian, yes, I'm sorry for every time I made you doubt yourself. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, I believe you are sorry, just truth. When I stepped outside, I cried before I reached the gate. But the tears felt clean for the first time leaving. That house did not feel like losing. It felt like learning how to carry my own weight. I showed up to work on time. I finished what I started. I answered honestly instead of strategically. I stopped feeding shallow friendships and started keeping the people who survived truth. Over lunch one Sunday, she studied me and said, you listen now. I smiled. Was I that bad? Do you want the short answer or the sister answer? Short, yes. But you're different, she said, not polished, real. I like real better. My mother noticed too. She came by my apartment, looked at the clean counters, the plant by the window, the therapy books on my shelf, and said, peace suits you more than performance ever did. I'm still learning peace, I said. That is why it suits you. Some nights I still missed Adrian so sharply. It felt like someone pressing on a bruise under my ribs. One evening after work, I took the hill road again. The house appeared through the trees, warm with light against the dark sky. Months earlier, I would have stopped and stared until I hurt myself with it. This time I only looked. I imagined Adrian inside, maybe reading, maybe working, maybe drinking tea in the peace I once called boring because I did not know peace was precious. My fingers loosened on the wheel. Goodbye, I whispered. The word was not only for him. It was for the woman who thought being admired mattered more than being decent. It was for the woman who confused hunger with depth, cruelty with honesty, noise with success. It was for the woman who stood beside loyalty and kept looking over its shoulder for something shinier. No tears, no drama, just a steady ache and a strange, solid gratitude. Some people enter my life to stay. Some enter to show me what I must never become, and some, like Adrian, love me fully enough to leave when staying would destroy them. That truth once felt like punishment. Now it feels like mercy. I lost my marriage. I lost the man who loved me quietly. I lost the dream house, the fantasy, the easy lie that bigger always means better. But in the ruins of all that, I found something I had never really owned before. An honest self, a humbler voice, a life I could live without comparison poisoning it from the inside. I used to think being left behind meant I had failed. Now I know I was left behind because the woman standing there could not go where truth was leading me. I had to become someone else, not perfect, not healed all at once. And for the first time in years, better felt like enough. That was my real beginning.